needs. Thank you for being here for 12 News at 1. I'm Troy Hayden. We are on wildfire watch today with crews from across the state flooding into eastern Arizona to help battle the Greer Fire. Right now, the flames are tearing through the White Mountains, forcing hundreds of evacuations. It's grown to over 7,000 acres and still 0% containment. You can see the rugged terrain this fire is burning over. Some 400 fire personnel are working to put the fire out, including crews from Phoenix, Mesa, Globe, and Casa Grande. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly has been covering this Greer Fire since it started. All right, Chase, how's it looking so far today? At least it looks behind you like it's not as windy as it has been the last couple of days.
Troy, I'll tell you, that's the big difference since we first got here on Tuesday. On Tuesday, you had strong wind gusts. Yesterday, more strong winds. And today, it has finally calmed down. And that has allowed fire crews to really utilize their aircraft to attack this fire from above and reach that rough terrain that hand crews cannot get to. They're planning on using helicopters, scoopers, and possibly air takers on the fire today. Already, we've seen those helicopters out here making those bucket drops. We've seen the aircraft making its rounds. And the other thing that we notice is that the skies have really cleared up. Of course, this fire is still going through, but I just want to kind of show you the difference, what a few days makes. You can see the sky is mostly blue, and then as we pan more south, you're looking at this area right here. Everything west of us is under evacuation, but you can see the smoke plumes right over here. This one looks like it's getting close to the 260. And as we pan more south, you can really start to see that smoke accumulation, and you can kind of make out where those fires are just right over the ridge right here. We haven't been able to see any flames ourselves, and from what we're told, we're less than 5 miles away from the smoke. Now, I want to go ahead and show you a new map showing the evacuations and those who are on set status, meaning they'll have to leave at a moment's notice. Now, the evacuation zone remains the same. However, they did extend those who are on set status and now goes north of the 260, which remains closed, all the way to the 60. It also includes the western part of Springerville, as well as the south and eastern part of Eager. Now, for crews on the ground, they are focusing on protecting homes and containment, working on the south end of the fire in Greer, as well as the northeast to make sure it doesn't get any closer to Eager. Tiffany Davila with the State Department of Forestry and Fire Management tells us what methods they are using to stop this spread.
So structure protection is a huge part of the operations. And then, of course, we have the resources that are engaged with putting in containment line, whether that's hand line, dozer line, or firing operations. So a lot of different tactics being used on this fire as we're working towards full suppression.
Now, hundreds of people have been evacuated. Just yesterday, we saw dozens of homes in western Eager who were told to leave. But today, as we were driving through that area, we did see a few people who remained at their home saying that they aren't planning on leaving until they actually see the flames from their own backyards. I also want to give another announcement. Tonight, there is a community meeting that is going to be held at the Round Valley High School auditorium. That's to where fire officials can give an update to the community of their firefighting efforts and also any other updates in regards to those who are in the evacuation zones or for those who are on set status. That will be at 6 o'clock tonight. Of course, we will also be there to bring you the latest. We're live in Eager. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
And Chase, fairly encouraging signs here, a few of them. The fact that the winds have died down. Hopefully they can get those air tankers in the air. And then we've got hundreds of people up there on the fire lines now. It seems like they mostly concentrate, at least today, on keeping that fire away from these structures, correct? Trying to build fire lines up there.
That's the main focus, is to really protect those homes. And the last update we received is so far 3 structures and a tractor trailer have been destroyed in this fire. They're still working to see, they're working to do assessments to see if any structures have been destroyed. But that is, again, their focus. And we could see photos of those crews putting containment lines around homes for structure protection. And, of course, trying to prevent further spread toward here in Eager, toward South Fork, and, of course, in Greer. So, that, again, that is the main focus, protecting homes and to stop the spread of this fire.
Right, and to help those firefighters, I think it's a great reminder that people in these fire areas, and even in some parts of the valley, firefighters always talk about 30 feet of defensible space. That 30 feet of clearing out vegetation can be the difference between a home that's still standing after a fire and one that's not.
That's right. And just speaking with some people, they said that, hey, you know, we live out here and you can see there's a lot of dry brush. They say it always looks like this around the summertime. So you do have some homeowners that are cautious who will clear out the area surrounding their home of any debris or weeds or anything like that, because yes, if that fire approaches and this dry grass gets ignited, I mean, it's just not good for any home. So there are homeowners out here who are very cautious about already protecting their homes.
Right, and just the beginning of this fire season. It could be a long one. Chase, thank you for the reporting. We look forward to more of it throughout the day today. Parts of Coconino County now in stage 2 fire restrictions, and that means no lighting of any kind of fire outdoors, no smoking outdoors, no target shooting, no fireworks. The restrictions apply to all private property within the boundaries of the Apache Sitgraves National Forest near this Greer fire. Fire crews getting some help from weather conditions that we were talking about. So Crystal, I mean, yesterday we had gusts, like you said, very unusual in that area. It seems better today.
Yes, the winds have backed off, but our wonky weather pattern is already putting us back on alert for this weekend. So here is your heads up that the winds are going to be all wound up again, and they are going to be strong. They certainly can fan those fierce flames once we power them back up. So have a way to get updates this weekend, and also keep in mind how vulnerable our landscapes are. We don't want to add to the wildfires that are already in progress. This next windy episode has already kicked out a wind advisory in northwestern Arizona. This is going to take effect throughout your Saturday, starting late morning through Saturday night, for winds blasting up to 50 miles an hour. On the fire lines today, we have cut those winds in half, but they're not calm. They can still create some chaos there with those winds out of the west up to 25 miles an hour, and it is still dry as a bone. There is a lot of smoke in that area, and you can see the wind still really out of the southwest, so it's going to continue to shove that smoke to the northeast, but sometimes it just kind of sits on top, really tainting that air quality in the area. Overall, yes, the winds have simmered down across the mountain regions, but we still have a little bit of a bounce this afternoon in the 20s, and the winds zipping around in the teens here in the valley. As we dial down on the winds, we start turning back up those temperatures, and we're seeing readings that are as much as 7-8 degrees warmer than the same time yesterday. That's translating to some 60s across the Northland, 70s for Sedona and Globe, and mid-80s right now in the valley. A little closer look here. We're about to pop a 90 in Laveen, pair of 8s in Gilbert and Sun City right now. We'll touch 90 degrees likely this afternoon, which is still a bit below average. We're looking at clear skies overhead, but we will soon be turning up closer to those record levels. I'll show you in that 7-day forecast up next, Troy.
All right, Crystal, we'll see you in a few minutes. Happening tonight, if you're in Payson, you can get more information and give feedback about what's being done to prevent wildfires like the one we're seeing burning now. The Arizona Corporation Commission hosting a town hall there in Payson. It's happening from 5 to 8 at the Payson Public Library. You can also join online if you can't make it to the library. There's a link to that virtual meeting at azcc.gov. Make sure you have the 12 Plus streaming app downloaded on your TV. You can watch for free, and that's where we'll bring you the very latest on Greer Fire coverage and any other wildfires that pop up, and even coverage outside of our existing newscast. Developing now, the state